Representative Bauer, 10:30, is that sufficient time for your discussions?
Well, I don't know about you all, but when I go home at night, I tend to talk about what happened during the day to my wife. So tonight I'm going to go home and say, honey, I had an interesting day at work. And she'll say, what was it? And I'll say, same old thing. Again, we called on our Democrat colleagues to return to their jobs. They've been paid. They need to be present. Every other Hoosier in the state, they don't show up for work without an excuse. They don't continue employment. And all we get is continued delay, time for legal proceedings, time for promises that I can't quite figure out or understand. And all I can say is the House Republicans are here. We're ready to work. We're ready to work on all the business, not the business that's selected by one person or another. We'll work here through the chants. We'll work here through the threats and just keep moving forward. So with that, I can only say it's my hope that all of our colleagues show up for work on Monday. If they don't, we'll continue the process of digging into their pockets and figure out a way to collect it, regardless of what one little county court said, and move forward. But it's my hope that we're here to do business, as Representative Bauer indicated on Monday, and we can get people's work done.
It was another very interesting day. The House Democratic members attended their committee hearings and were prepared to deal with the 21 bills that were on the calendar that are not oppressing the people. We offered a constitutional referendum in our opinion, but we needed them to subscribe to that and not just give parliamentary, I would have to say, kiss off to the bill. I mean, just saying, okay, we won't do this, we won't do that. They did the same thing with one a week ago, it's been about Tuesday, saying they wouldn't call any question, but meanwhile, through a whisper campaign and then getting LSA, who had drafted it, to say it was probably unconstitutional, helped make it a question of whether it was constitutional and not a question of whether they were going to deny the people input into this process of the bill, the right to work for less bill. Again, they've tried to bar the public. They try to bar them from the committee hearings. They try to bar their input. They slipped it by the last election. All we are asking is if they will say this is constitutional and we're going to vote on it with that spirit, not this, wink and a nod, saying, okay, we'll just let it go, but, really, it's not really constitutional. So my caucus wasn't fully assured of that, and also I could tell that their members hadn't even gone to caucus on it. They didn't even leave the floor to go look at it. We'd only filed it this morning. So if they had gone and taken a serious study of it, and it said that in their opinion, they don't have to give a judicial opinion because they're not justices, but they were on Tuesday, obviously, ruling it in their own opinion unconstitutional. If they had given it a fair hearing, so the public was part of it, we would have been here. The weekend is important. The public needs to know this. And now we can go home, and they can go home and show that amendment to the public and show why it's valid, and then the vote Monday can be.
My thoughts have been consistent from the start that we elect elected officials to make hard decisions here and not just pass those off to others. In fact, since we've had a week to look at some things, we pulled up some of the debate from the Constitutional Convention on this very issue. And a member of the Constitutional Convention in 1850, I can't recall his name now, I think he was from Monroe County, said that if we're going to go through a referendum process, why do we have two houses of the legislature? Why do you want to have two houses? That's where the check and balance is. Why don't we just have a committee that puts together questions just to submit them to the public? This is no different than any other issue. We deal with matters of reproductive rights. We deal with matters of the death penalty. We deal with speed limits. We deal with whether or not a kid can get a spray tan without their parents' approval. So, I mean, we deal with all these issues. This is not a special issue, and it's so important that it has to go to the public. We elect officials to make the tough decisions, and that's what we're charged to do here.